Hey, I'm Butterfly.
Hey, I'm Firefly.
Have you ever wondered if we aren't being told the truth about everything?
What have we been lied to about? Join us as we have conversations and ask questions about everything. We invite you to keep an open mind and consider the unfathomable.
Let's break the chains that enslave our minds. Come on, let's go down the rabbit hole.
Butterfly.
Hey, Firefly, what's going on?
Well, we are going to continue on with our second part of our episode because we tried to unpack coincidences, but
Is
what we
it a
realized
is it a coincidence
it's
that we're doing two parts?
it's kind of a coincidence. Yeah.
It is.
So what we did was we started to kind of unpack all the coincidences, and we kind of started to talk about how, like, calling something a coincidence and saying that there's a conspiracy is kind of like saying I believe in the Bible or I don't believe in the Bible, because it really comes down to what you believe.
Right,
Because we're not going to be able to prove what happened that day on November 22nd, 1963.
right,
You're not going to be able to prove it because it's all surrounded by lies
right.
that are 75 years old. So, like, Ben Shapiro, let's just not even talk about it anymore.
Let's just not ask any questions.
It's not doing anything good. It happened a long time ago. Let's just talk about how, that country from 1948 runs everything now. So, like, what's weird is that, we're supposed to just kind of accept all of these lies that we've been told and never get told the truth, and then just kind of accept that.
Yeah, we're just supposed to say, okay,
Yeah,
they're going to tell us something outrageous, and we're just going to
and
say,
that's just the
okay.
way that it goes. I'm a mushroom. I deserve to be, kept in the dark and fed a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
That's what it is. My dog's in a wheelchair and I muddle through, you know? So I don't know. So I guess what it comes down to is, are you going to take a blue pill and just accept that that's just a coincidence? Or are you going to be like us and say, no, I don't take blue pills. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole to all the way to Las Vegas. I'm not stopping in Baker.
Right.
What did we talk about? When you're driving to Vegas from LA, you get to Baker. And Baker is just like a diner and a crappy casino.
It's a dive,
It's a dive. And it's in the middle of nowhere. It's this desert, and you just get crappy pumpkin pie and a chocolate shake.
but you can gamble.
You can gamble, but you're not going to go all the way to Vegas.
Yeah.
You're going to stop there.
Yeah. Or you can keep going like another, half hour, if that?
Yeah.
Like another half hour, and you're in Las Vegas.
And then you're in Las
So
Vegas.
much better.
Yeah. See, I think what they want you to do, what the media wants you to do, is just stop in Baker and just say, "This is it. This is all you
This
need.
is all there is.
This is all there is. There's no such thing as conspiracies. That's just a coincidence." So Baker is where you go have pumpkin pie and a chocolate shake
And gamble.
and gamble, and you say, "That's just a coincidence."
Yeah.
Larry Silverstein getting a insurance policy on terrorism 6 months before 9/11 and then getting paid out billions of dollars shortly after there. That's just a coincidence. Enjoy your pumpkin pie and go put some money in the slot machines in Baker.
Right. Yeah. Um, I think that
I'm going to Vegas.
I'm going to
I'm
Vegas.
going 150 miles an hour in my Corvette
Well,
all the way out there.
we go down the rabbit holes, and our dials go to 11.
We go to 11.
Yeah,
And sometimes I drive fast out there.
I know.
You
Oh
know,
yeah. Well,
sometimes I don't even get off at Baker. I just go 100 miles an hour past Baker.
you can go really fast on that road.
Yeah, yeah. There's no one out there.
Pedal to the metal and
Exactly.
just get there.
It's just straight ahead.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying let's just go straight ahead and see where this rabbit hole leads.
Exactly.
But they're like, no, 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 no. You're a bad person for doing that. Those are coincidences. So let's unpack. So we talked about the coincidences that were prevalent with 9/11.
9/11.
We talked about the coincidences that were prevalent with JFK.
Yeah.
We talked about Hillary.
Yeah.
She's got some
There's a
coincidences
lot of
about her.
coincidences around her.
And we talked about Epstein.
Mm,
God, we talked about some gross people.
we did.
Like when you talk about Hillary Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, both of them make you want to take a shower.
They're gross.
You want to go take like a spiritual steam bath.
Yeah, a cleansing.
A cleansing.
Yeah.
Because just mentioning them makes you feel filthy.
Yeah.
So let's discuss now. So what you said was we're going to have to do another episode on coincidences
Mm-hmm.
because
There's so many of them.
We haven't even touched on some
We
other
could
ones.
possibly do like a week long.
We're not going to get to all of them.
Yeah,
There's no way.
we won't get to all of them. We'll
But there's some
probably
other ones that we needed to unpack that we
yeah.
didn't get on the first
We'll
episode.
probably have to like, reconvene this topic like in the future and, do some more as more unfold and as we discover more. But
Well, like I've noticed because I listen to our episodes, there's a few themes that pop up a lot.
uh
Big shawarma,
Big Shawarma's always around.
it comes popping up.
Uh-huh.
Well, coincidences are going to come popping up like big shawarma
Yeah. That's interesting
because
that you bring that up because I thought of another coincidence
what?
involving Big Shawarma. Well, should we talk about the cooties fiasco?
Let's talk about cooties. You got to talk about the coincidences.
There were a lot of coincidences around cooties. Like, first off, let's just start at the beginning. Well, I mean, I don't even know if this was the beginning, but what about their little meeting that they had before cooties happened? That
Event 201?
Event 201.
Where the table read?
I like to call it the table read
Where
because
everyone
that's
just
exactly what it was.
it's just coincidence that they just all sit around and kind of like game plan what's going to happen.
Like they had this quote unquote hypothetical
Yeah,
scenario where like there would be a huge virus
it's just a coincidence.
and I think they called it like Cooties 20 or something like that.
Yeah,
And it was going to be released, and then like they were going to have to put everybody like around the world on lockdown, and then there were going to be like pokey pokes and stuff. Like they basically kind of spelled out the entire Cooties fiasco step by step.
even to the point where specific details were included prior.
Specific
Like
details,
Run
yeah.
DMC will come out and do a rap going, get shot, get shot, go
Yeah.
get
I mean, it was very specific.
How
It
do they
was,
know that?
yeah, it was kind of like how that some of those big shawarma drugs have side effects that are very specific, like you might have suicidal tendencies to hang yourself from a doorknob with a
With
scarf.
Scott. This is very
I
specific.
mean, it's
Yeah.
very specific. But yeah, so they started they had a sit down table read, pretending this whole scenario. What would we do if this happened? And which is interesting because it's funny. My mom talks about some old black and white movie that she saw that she said they did this in. They had like all these like powerful people were sitting around a table and like planning out the future.
There was a scene similar to that in Doctor Strangelove,
Maybe that
which
was
was
it.
Stanley Kubrick.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Stanley Kubrick is a total cult member. We've talked about him.
yeah.
And there's coincidences around him too.
Yeah.
Like it's just a coincidence that he died just after making Eyes Wide Shut and included a scene where a bunch of cult members get together and sacrifice a woman at the end, and then he dies for divulging that. That's just a coincidence.
Coincidence. Yeah.
And
But
it's a coincidence that he did the moon landing.
well,
He filmed the moon
we're
landing.
gonna get to the moon landing in a bit. Let's wrap up cooties.
So cooties.
So cooties, there were so many coincidences around it, but
So Event 201 was a real interesting
it was
coincidence.
a real interesting coincidence that happened. But you know which coincidence I'm thinking about now that's like the general population was totally being gaslit and they still continue to this day to be is all the side effects from the pokey pokes. And people were just like, "Oh, it's a coincidence that I'm 25 years old and I just had a stroke."
That's a coincidence.
And it's a coincidence that now, like, remember Justin Bieber? He had like Bell's palsy and like the side of his face went
Yeah.
paralyzed. And his girlfriend or wife at the time, they were like 25. She had a stroke or
It's just a coincidence.
all coincidences. Like there were so many stories like that, and people were like, "Oh, it's just a coincidence that
You know what's a coincidence too is that in 2021 they roll out Operation Warp Speed, and so everyone starts taking these pokey pokes. But then in the wake of that, um, Earth modification started causing people to have like
Stroke.
calamari coming out of their veins.
Yeah.
So now there's
Yeah.
that's a coincidence. That's an interesting coincidence.
Yeah.
So now people are having calamari coming out of their veins.
Yeah.
And that's in the wake of Operation Mindcrime, but that's nothing to do with Operation Mindcrime.
No, nothing to do with those pokey pokes. Like absolutely. Like it's about anything but.
It's not about
Anything
that.
but. Now here's
It's
my
Earth modification.
yeah, here's my like I don't know, my deductive reasoning skills
Ooh, I love that.
and
Deductive reasoning.
yeah, and like, investigative skills. Like if I was a private detective and I had to do some research to figure something out, um, if they were saying that, these things were just a coincidence, all these like ailments that people were having were just a coincidence, or they were because of climate, earth mod.
It's Earth
Um,
modification.
I would just be interested in finding out if the only people suffering from these things were the ones who got the pokey pokes. Because
It's just a coincidence.
couldn't you draw some sort of conclusion to that? Like, if all the people that were suffering these ailments, they all got the pokey pokes, but like, all everybody else who's also dealing with earth mod isn't having these ailments, who
What you're doing is something that the Culture Club gets really mad at.
they don't like it.
It's called connecting
I
dots.
know.
They don't want you doing
They
that.
don't like that. Like they like you to shut up.
They want you to be Dory.
Yeah.
They want you to just not really remember what happened 5 minutes ago and not really have a concept of tomorrow. And you just kind of just live in your 5 minutes
Uh,
and you're a goldfish.
oh my gosh. I don't know if this is an epiphany or just just a realization, but it's sort of like, how they want us all in 15-minute cities. Well, they want us in our 5 minutes in the 15-minute cities.
That's right.
So they want us to be existing in like the 5 minutes of now.
You're a goldfish and a fish, and your fishbowl is 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're in the 5 minutes of now in your 15-minute city.
Because
does that make 20 minutes?
That's right. 20 minutes. Exactly.
Or do you subtract?
20 minutes.
10.
It's 10 minutes. I can't tell. But that's exactly right. So basically what you just did
Yeah,
was you connected some
I
dots.
did.
What
Yeah.
you did was you said, what if there's a correlation between all these people dying of strokes and calamari in their veins? And I just had one of my mom's friends, just today, like their left eye just like stopped working. And she took
Just
the
randomly.
Yankees,
Yeah.
but her left eye just stopped working. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. Maybe that happened, but I've never had that happen. And then, like Justin Bieber, just all of a sudden his left side of his face just stops working. And what you're saying is, well, if people are having, like, remember the one weather girl, and she was like, that was
Killed him.
that was just a coincidence.
Yeah.
And if you connect the dots and say, wait a second, we should ask if that weather lady took the shot because she was in a good mood and then just went, So you're a bad person for connecting those dots.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, this is the interesting thing too. Here's another coincidence.
Okay.
Why did in 1986 they passed the CARES Act, which is an Orwellian term, cares, because they don't care.
Mm.
But what happened in the CARES Act? All of Big Shawarma was indemnified from any damage that's sustained from their products.
Yeah.
That's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
You don't
So
connect dots.
if anything goes wrong from using their products, then it's okay. They're not at fault.
They're not at fault. You don't get to sue them.
Yeah.
I have calamari in my veins. That's their fault.
You took the thing.
That's Earth mod.
Yeah.
Earth mod is
Earth
causing
mod
that.
must be doing it.
There's extra carbon in the atmosphere that causes linguine, not linguine, calamari. I'm hungry. I need to go get something to eat. But anyways, yeah. So that was an interesting. How about here's another coincidence from Cooties.
Uh-huh.
Remember Carrie Mullis?
Yeah.
Who's that?
That's the guy who invented the PCR test.
Mm-hmm.
And he invented it like years before.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what his reason was, but he specifically said it wasn't designed to diagnose anything.
Well, what he said was, it's not meaningful in telling you that you have infectious disease.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you turn the PCR test up high enough, you can find anything in somebody. You can find trace elements of anything in people. So it's not meaningful.
Right.
To tell you the truth, I don't really know what it is for.
That's what I kept asking. What is it for then if it doesn't?
So what's interesting, what's an interesting coincidence about Carrie Mullis is he looked great. Mm-hmm. He was like in his early 70s and really healthy. And he unalived in the summer of 2019, right around the time of Event 201.
Right.
and he just mysteriously unalives. So that's just a coincidence. What if it was because he was coming out and saying, no, you can't use this PCR test to meaningfully diagnose whether someone has infectious disease? Because the Culture Club was like, no, we need you to go ahead and be unalived because we're going to use the PCR test as the predicate
Of
to,
everything.
yeah. The positive test is kind of what Cooties was predicated on.
It kind of like ran the whole show.
Yeah.
And they were like, making that a requirement at so many different places.
Epiphany.
Oh yeah.
Why was the PCR test so important? Because then CNN gets to do fear porn. Because do you
Mm.
remember during the cooties, every time you turned on CNN, they had the infographics around the outside? And
Yeah.
the infographics, what was it always telling you? How many new cases?
Right.
And the people, the blue pilled, scared walkers across the country, they watch and they go, oh my God, look at all the new cases.
Yeah,
But
cases.
they don't put two and two together and say, what is the definition of a case? A case is somebody who took a PCR test and got a fake positive result
Right.
of being told that you have a virus that might not even be a virus.
Right. Yeah. And people, like, even to this day, are still taking that test. And for what? Like, what is the point of that?
I think it's I want to comply and I don't want to have my social credit score adversely affected.
Right.
So I take blue pills and I don't ask questions.
Right.
I shove a 6-inch Q-tip up my nose.
Yeah.
That's another coincidence.
Yes.
Why? Okay, so it's kind of a coincidence that there's all of this human cloning going on, and there's all of this DNA being collected, and then in order to do your PCR test, you have to shove a 6-inch Q-tip up your nose and jam it into your nasal bone into your brain.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
That's weird. Yeah.
It could be, now I'm a bad person, it could be that nanotechnology is being like implanted on your brain for mind control, and also they're deriving DNA in order to add it into their cloning program that clearly is going on. But then see, I'm connecting dots.
Don't do that. Just don't do that. The Culture Club doesn't want you to do that.
So that's just a coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're just supposed to understand that jamming a 6-inch, because now we've talked about this. Could they have derived whether or not I had cooties using the PCR test by just taking my mask and taking the saliva that I spit into my mask?
They said they couldn't.
They're not allowed to do that.
No.
They can't do that. No,
No.
we have to go dig way up into your brain to get the right DNA.
Yeah. But you have to wear the mask so that the spit doesn't come out of your mouth because you might be spreading those germs.
That's interesting. So
Yeah.
I'm contradicting myself.
Yeah.
So see, that's another thing that people have to do in order to just call it a coincidence. Like when I walk into the restaurant, I have to wear my mask. But when I sit down at the booth, I take my mask off.
Yeah.
Because the cooties is only at that high level.
Yeah. It's not down at like the booth or chair level.
No.
Also, it's not like at the movie theater when once you get in and sit down and start eating your popcorn.
Yes.
Or on the plane.
On the plane. When you eat your peanuts?
Yeah. You
take it off.
You don't spread germs when you're seated and eating.
Or when you go to the grocery store and they have the plexiglass, that's protecting you.
Right.
But when you go around to bag your stuff, you are still protected.
Exactly.
Or the other one that's totally a coincidence is you can attend a Black Lives Matter rally.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wear a mask because the cooties knows that that's an important movement, and it's not going to affect that because those people are good people.
Right.
And they're fighting for justice.
They probably don't have cooties.
And that's coincidence. That guy that died from a fentanyl overdose and that all of those people lives matter was all predicated on, that was kind of a coincidence. Like he just happened to take a bunch of fentanyl and kind of freak out and die.
Right.
But it turned out that it was actually the police were bad.
They were bad. They were like beating him up and suffocating him, even though
no one was touching him.
It was a coincidence. Yeah, I saw the video where he was sitting in the back seat saying he couldn't breathe. But I think
the door was wide open and there was no cops around him.
I think, yeah, somehow they were suffocating him
even
though he was sitting by himself.
That was a coincidence. That was a really interesting coincidence that he was suffocating and saying, I can't breathe, even though there's no cops around him and the door's wide open.
Yeah. Coincidence.
It's all a coincidence. So, I think what the media is trying to say is learn to accept that it's coincidence, even if there might be dots that you can connect. You don't connect those
You
dots.
know what? I think coincidence is a really important word for them because it takes them out of the equation and it takes conspiracy out of the equation. So it explains away any possible anomalies. A
That's interesting.
coincidence explains away any possible anomalies because
Yes.
if there's an anomaly or something that doesn't add up or something doesn't make sense or it's unclear or there's like things that they don't want to divulge, all they have to do is pull out the coincidence card and just say coincidence. And that explains everything, right?
Have you ever used that term "speak of the devil"?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a coincidence. Like, so me and you, we start talking about Jennifer, and
Uh-huh.
then Jennifer calls right when you and I were just talking about her.
Right.
But that's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Speak of the devil. Or my mom used to always say, I'd call and she'd go, "Your ears must be burning."
Yeah.
You ever heard that one?
Yeah.
So my ears are burning.
Yeah.
What does that mean? My mom's connecting dots. The media doesn't like you saying your ears are burning.
Yeah.
Because if your ears are burning, you're suggesting that maybe there's connections.
Mm-hmm.
And what if you can be connected to people? Like the other day, you completed my sentence. Remember we were doing an episode the other day?
I finished your point.
You finished my point. You finished my
It
point.
was very presumptuous of
So maybe that was just a coincidence that you happen to have that same thought that I was having.
right.
Or maybe we have some kind of a connection and you're able to kind of see where I'm going with something because we're connected.
We're on the
And
same wavelength.
maybe conspiracies kind of work that way.
Ooh,
Because have you
that's
ever
an
noticed?
epiphany.
It's an epiphany. Have you ever noticed how scales start to fall away from your eyes, and now you start to perceive things, and you see connections that maybe you didn't even see before?
Right. That happened to me.
That happened to you.
Yeah.
See, the first thing that happened with you is you went, that guy that overdosed on fentanyl, he doesn't seem like a great guy.
And I see him like I see him suffocating in the back seat by himself.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And well, so what happened is you saw that, and then scales started to fall away from your eyes, and then you started to learn about cooties.
Yeah. And I was like, that's weird that like they want everybody to wash their hands a lot and stay away from each other, but those homeless dudes are like still living on the same corner and they look really dirty.
He
Like
didn't die.
he's still alive. It's been a couple months.
He didn't die. So, what's interesting is once you get red pill, you start to see the connections and everything.
Hmm.
And the media hates that. They want you to stay on a blue pill. And if you talk to blue pill people will just kind of swallow like, yeah. Remember, perfect example is the guy's going with his son to go get the pokies, and you're
Yeah.
there and you're going, hey, before you go,
Do you know this? Do you
tell it.
well,
I love
was there handing out brochures like stating all of the problems and side effects that could happen. And I handed one to a man in his with his son, and he looked at it. He goes, "Wow, I never knew about this. I've never heard of this before." And I was like, "Yeah." And I was thinking, "Oh my gosh." He
good.
goes, "Okay, thanks." And he's just like,
Okay,
come on, son.
come on, son, let's go get a shot. We don't know what's in it. So what he is he's on a blue pill where even contradictory data doesn't cause them to change their behavior.
Right.
And the media loves that. That's where they want you.
So what's like you were saying, once you get red pilled, you start to see everything. But you know what we saw recently, and people could go back and listen to our episode, The New Blue Pill,
New blue pill.
because what we started to see was so many people kind of like fell into this Trump culture club and
Yes.
started to like swallow a new blue pill where they were aware of all the stuff that was going on before, but then suddenly they kind of fell back into this stupor and started believing the media again.
You know what it is you go up to them and you're red pilled and you say, is it a coincidence that they had two pokies all locked and loaded, just ready to go. And Trump goes, "Get the shot. I'm gonna roll it out. It usually takes 10 years, but we're gonna do it in 3 weeks." That's a coincidence. I think the Trump cult, the new blue pill, is they go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that was good. He saved lives." You have to swallow that.
Yeah.
He saved lives. You know, Charlie Kirk was a hero. That guy was a hero. And like a conspiracy theorist like myself will say, maybe he sold his soul. Maybe he was playing a role.
Maybe.
And they go, "Oh my God, you know what? You're a bad person." So I think that's what's going on now. I try to connect dots, and I kind of now have gotten to the point because I've been told to shut up. Is I connect dots that maybe even aren't there, and I'll be happy to say I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole until I go to my dials go to 11.
Well, um, another weird thing is like they keep using the same playbook year after year. Like
Yeah.
we've seen this for like, I mean, 100 years at least. Like, so let's talk about an old conspiracy. How about the Titanic?
Ooh,
There were a lot of coincidences around that. A
let's
lot.
tell me.
Well, so this new, really fancy, super amazing ship is built, and they're gonna go on, the inaugural
Voyage.
voyage. And there's like a lot of really bigwigs that are gonna be on this trip, like really rich and powerful people that are kind of running the country.
Yeah, because they kind of had like the elite section. They
Yeah.
had like the steerage, and the steerage is where like the plebs had to go.
Yeah.
But then they had the elites had like beautiful dining rooms and
It
estate
was super
rooms.
fancy.
Yeah.
And it probably cost a lot of money to go on a trip like that.
Oh yeah.
You had to be pretty wealthy.
And I think from what I understand, you kind of had to make reservations because it was a very coveted trip.
Yeah. So a lot of these people made reservations, like JP Morgan Chase and who were some of the other ones?
Guggenheim.
Guggenheim.
So Guggenheim is a mining and smelting magnate.
Hmm.
Isidore Strauss, he is the co-owner of Macy's department store and a U.S. congressman.
Hmm.
And John Jacob Astor is one of the richest men in the world at the time. And all three of them are on the Titanic, and all three of them are strong opponents of centralized banking and the formation of the Federal Reserve, which takes place the next year.
Yeah, they did not want that.
They didn't want
And
that.
they were powerful people that had a lot of influence
And
in.
it's just a coincidence that the largest boat ever made that's pretty much considered like invincible. That was one of the things, like if you ever watch a special on the Titanic, the way that they were couching the Titanic, it was like a modern marvel of human technology, and
Right.
it was an invincible boat.
Yeah.
Nothing was going to take it out.
Yeah.
So it's just a coincidence that, kind of like in Epstein, where the guards fall asleep,
Yeah.
the guy who's supposed to be watching out for the Titanic to not hit a iceberg, he just misses the fact that there's an iceberg right
Yeah. Like it's almost like he steered it right towards the iceberg.
there. It seems like if your job is to watch out for icebergs, you should be able to say, "Oh, well, there's one right out there. Go a
Yeah.
little left.
Especially if you're like in that vicinity where there's like a lot of icebergs,
There's icebergs
you
here."
probably want to be extra alert at that point.
You know
You
what?
know what I mean?
Before I know we're surrounded by icebergs. I'm gonna go down to the buffet real quick and get some baked Alaska. I'll be right back.
Be back in an hour.
I'll be like, "Oh, we hit an iceberg right when I was getting back to Alaska."
But one of the big coincidences was, all of these very powerful people that were on the ship. There were also several others who had reservations to be on that trip, like
JP Morgan.
JP Morgan Chase. Yeah.
And JP Morgan, and he just happens to cancel.
He canceled like right at the last minute. At the last minute, he cancels his trip and doesn't go.
And then
Is that it?
not only does he cancel his trip, but then what it says is that he cancels his trip at the last minute, and then he is instrumental in pushing through what was called the Federal Reserve Act. So the
Hmm.
Federal Reserve was voted in.
Right.
So Congress they had APAC handlers all the way back in 1913
Mm-hmm.
because the Federal Reserve really benefited that country from 1948.
Yeah.
That's just a coincidence. I'm a bad person. You're not supposed to connect the dots that they like fractious lending. They like to lend money to our government, and then now we're $33 trillion in debt. Do you see how that could be maybe advantageous to that country from 1948 that worth $33 billion in debt to them? Maybe they like that, but I'm a bad person. This is all just a coincidence.
That's interesting you bring that up because why don't we just mention all of the coincidences surrounding that place?
What?
They, is
The
it,
Federal Reserve.
no, is it a coincidence that
Oh, is
every
that country?
major institution in the world is controlled by the people from that country?
Yeah,
We're talking music industry,
yeah,
Hollywood,
yep.
um, politics,
Government.
government,
Even to the point
schools,
of like, I
big
think our city
shawarma.
council, we've talked about even our city council, they just passed like, yeah, 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 no, no, no. If you're 14 and you want to chop your tits off, you don't have to tell your mom. Our city council passed a law that says that. That sounds like the culture club controls even the
The local,
ground level
yeah,
government.
totally. Yeah. And I mean, the fact that so many of our leaders in, politics have dual citizenship.
They control big shawarma,
Yeah, and they have dual citizenship.
dual
Like, I don't
citizenship.
understand that. Why, if you're leading a country, shouldn't you have loyalty just to that? I mean, you should have citizenship
It'd be
in one
like
country
if
and
Otani played for the Dodgers and the Angels.
right.
So like when he
You
traded
can't
from
do
the
that.
Angels to the Dodgers, he just stayed on the Angels.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, tonight I'm playing for the Dodgers, but next week I'm going to be playing for the Angels."
It'd be like if Otani was doing that, he'd be like Chuck Schumer, where he would
Hmm.
be like all, well, I'm pitching for the Angels tonight, but I'm also the DH for the Dodgers.
Right.
So
It seems like a conflict of interest.
and that's what Chuck Schumer has.
Hmm.
And how many of the other guys?
A lot of them.
Borla, who is the CEO of Pfizer, I think he's got dual citizenship.
Hmm.
Well, you know what? I think if you have dual citizenship, we should just pass a new law in America where you got to go.
There should be a law against that.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Okay, you chose to be a dual citizen, then you get punished. Now you got to go live in that little crappy country. Because have you ever looked at that country from 1948? It
Yeah.
doesn't look nice.
No.
It's got like barbed wire fence everywhere, and people are getting blown up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. I don't like if you said you've just won a trip to that country from 1948. I'd be like, I'm going to give it away.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Totally.
Like you could give me a full all expenses paid like junket for 10 days. And I'd be like, nah, I don't even want to go.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me to go.
No.
So let you go live there.
Yeah.
Go live there, bro.
Yeah.
You love it. Victoria Newland, go ahead. I'm not going to miss Victoria Newland. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, God, you know what? Victoria Newland moved that country from 1948 because she's got dual citizenship, and I just miss her so much. America's just not the same without Victoria Newland.
Right. But this seems to be it's ubiquitous.
I love that word.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Which that when I see that, I start wondering, is that a coincidence?
That's a coincidence.
Is that a coincidence?
Well, we haven't even really unpacked everything they run. So they run, we have APAC handlers that control our Congress. So they run our Congress. Because they're BlackRock, they bribe and blackmail everybody in government all the way down to city council. So they run our government. But they also run Big Shawarma.
Yep.
But they also run Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
They run all the fake news. They run the Democrats and the Republican and both sides of the narrative that have people in their bubbles.
Right.
So they run that. But that's not it. It goes even further. They control our education system.
Yeah.
They control our colleges. They control our high schools. They control all of this woke brain mind virus that they're giving people. And then what we've talked about is doctors. So when you go, I'm going to go be a doctor. You go to medical school, and guess what? They teach you white people are bad and gays are good. And excuse me, gay people are awesome. And it's like, well, that doesn't have anything to do with like genes and blood and bones and disease. What it is, no, 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 no. If you want to be a doctor, you have to drink our Kool-Aid because you're going to go and be carrying out our disgusting conspiracies.
Yeah, it's just totally so coincidental.
So that
I
country
think
from 1948 running everything is a
that
coincidence.
must be a coincidence.
Are there any other Titanic coincidences that we haven't discussed yet? Like, how about the fact that I guess that's pretty much it. We kind of unpacked all the Titanic
You know
ones.
what I want to talk about is what happened to that Malaysia flight. Remember that
Yeah,
Malaysia flight?
385 or
It
whatever.
just disappeared.
Yeah.
It just totally disappeared. And I
We
heard
can't find it.
we can't find it. And I heard that there were a lot of people on that flight that were going to some big medical conference, and
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
they knew about like the cure for AIDS or something.
No, no, no. I heard it was different. I heard it was what they were doing was they were coming up with alternative treatments to cooties.
But this was before cooties, though, wasn't it?
I think it was like during cooties, wasn't it?
No, I think they were coming up for alternative
Oh, no, it
treatments
was
for,
cancer.
was it cancer
I think that's what it was.
or
They
AIDS?
had an alternative treatment for cancer
It was one of
because
those things.
Big Shawarma, they want to get you into their Big Shawarma.
Yeah,
They want you to take their petroleum-based Rockefeller pills,
yeah.
and they
I
want
think
you to
Rockefeller was on going to be on the Titanic too. I think he was one of them.
see,
One of the Rockefellers, yeah.
see.
And Rothschilds. I'm sure they're all. I'm just going to lump them all into that
They
group.
probably were all like, "Oh, I've got we got an executive suite, and we're gonna be at the buffet." So, anyways, Rockefeller healthcare system wants to get you in there because it's not just big shawarma. They also love their radiation.
Oh,
They love
right.
doing their radiation for when you have cancer.
Hmm.
So I think maybe those people from that flight that went down in Malaysia, I think they might have come up with a cancer treatment where they said, guess what? We have a cure for cancer. Cancer is just like parasites that we figured out that we can, cure.
Well, okay,
You don't
so
have to do radiation.
here's another coincidence maybe. Um, why is it that we're always told to stay away from radiation because it causes cancer? And like, when you go to the dentist, they even put that like lead vest on you when they're doing x-rays
Mhm.
so you don't get radiation because
Mhm.
radiation is bad.
Radiation's bad,
You don't
but
want
we give
radiation.
it to you when you have cancer.
Yeah. Radiation causes cancer, but when you have cancer, we're going to give you extra
We're gonna
radiation.
give you some, yeah. So what we do is we fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
That's how it is. It's kind of like the hair of the dog. You ever heard the hair of the dog? Like, oh my God, I'm so hungover. Here, take a shot.
Yeah,
I think that's what they're thinking.
totally.
But that's just a coincidence.
That's probably a coincidence.
That's totally a
I
coincidence.
know.
And you get turbo cancer from the pokies. That's a coincidence.
Um,
I think cancer is kind of like a big thing. They really like cancer. I think that country from 1948, they're stoked on cancer.
totally.
They're like, dude, cancer works out really good because cancer, we can tell you, you're gonna die. So come and get into big shawarma.
And people are scared,
I'm
so they're
scared.
going to do whatever.
So I need radiation and big shawarma for the rest of my life. Yeah,
Yeah,
and probably surgeries
yeah.
because that's the other thing too. So once you get in the healthcare system, it's big shawarma and radiation, but we also have some surgeries. Like you don't need your gallbladder. We're gonna remove that.
Yeah. God made you with this, but I
Yeah.
don't think you need it. So we're
Well,
going to
there
take
is
it out.
no God. There's only That's the other thing too is existence is a coincidence to these people.
Oh, right.
Like the Big Bang Theory was just a big coincidence.
Yeah.
Like it
Like
was just a random event.
people just like appeared out of just nowhere.
There's no intelligent design. There's no God. There's no meaning. There's no purpose. We're all just ants on a big pile of poop. And existence is a coincidence.
Yeah, totally.
It just happened to be two atoms that hit each other and formed everything. But wait a second, in what medium, in what vacuum did those things take
I
place?
know.
That's a coincidence, and you're connecting
It
dots.
was just like a meteor or a shooting star. Speaking of
Mhm.
shooting stars and meteors, what about space? What about the moon
A
landing?
lot of coincidences
Let's talk
there.
about that.
Well, the most glaring one is all of the astronauts are Freemasons.
That's a coincidence, I'm
Eh,
sure.
you
I'm
know,
sure.
like the more I'm learning about Freemasonry is it's like kind of like Scientology.
Kinda evil.
It's kind of like Scientology.
Yeah.
It's a cult,
Mhm.
and you get in, and if you try to get out, they're kind of like me.
Yeah. You don't get out.
And it's also kind of like Scientology too, where L. Ron Hubbard just basically wrote some science fiction novel and then said, "This is a religion, and you come practice this."
Right.
They kind of do that with the Culture Club. I
Right.
mean, you kind of go and join, and then they go, "Okay, here, swallow these lies, and now you can be in the Culture Club."
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. It's all predicated on just no, 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 no. You come join our Culture Club.
Well, I think the one of like the big coincidence with the moon landing was that they were able to pull this off in 1969, and then we haven't been back to the moon because they lost the technology.
We lost buildings worth of technology.
Yeah, I
Like
guess like I don't know, the people that were in charge of those files just like weren't good organizers because they just lost everything.
It kind of it kind of reminds me of the coincidence that the Manhattan Project. Remember we talked about the Manhattan Project? The Manhattan Project was during World War II when they created the nuclear bomb, and it
Right.
was this covert kind of program,
Mhm.
and people were working on it, but they didn't ever divulge the secrets.
Yeah.
And we've kind of talked about how they could have been severanced, where they
Right.
went to work all day, worked on the nuke program, and then went home and just went, "Honey, what's for dinner?"
They had no idea what they
And
did all day.
and their wife was like, "Honey, what did you do today?" "Well, I don't remember, but,
I went to
we
work.
having steak or chicken." Yeah. So I think that was kind of like a coincidence too. Like, how did hundreds of thousands of people work on a nuke program and nobody talks about it? It's completely secret,
Right.
unless maybe they're brain chipped.
I think they could be.
And then if that we're talking about 1942, could we have had brain chips all the way back then?
I think so.
And are we being lied to about how much technology we have?
Well, I mean, the technology that they showed us for the moon trip looked pretty primitive.
What are you
Like,
talking about?
I mean,
You talking about the buggy?
the
The
buggy.
buggy that they came back to Earth on?
I know. How did they first off get that buggy
It looks like a
out
dune
there?
buggy.
How did they get it like in the spaceship and then they drove it out and they just drove around the moon
They
and
cruise around,
and
dude
like
hits a 6 iron, and then they hop back in.
yeah. And they like got some really cool pictures, you know, like
The
of
cameraman's like, "I got a shotgun," and then they get into the dune buggy, and they take the dune buggy back to Earth.
right.
No, it was I'm sorry, you're right. It wasn't a dune buggy. They got into something that kinda looked like a coffee filter.
Like a capsule. Yeah.
It was a coffee filter with a lid
Yeah.
and a dune buggy, and they traveled to 25,000 miles back to Earth.
Yeah.
But when they take off from Earth, from Cape Canaveral, it's like this huge rocket that disassembles itself in 4 different stages. That's how they get to the moon, but a dune buggy just cruises them back. But that's a
It
coincidence.
was coincidence.
And then how about the guys talking to him?
Like Nixon was talking on the phone.
He's on a wired line, "Hey, we're really proud of you up there." And it's like, "Well, wait a
It's
minute."
cool that he could make that phone call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that must have been like expensive long distance back then.
And they sound really
So
clear
he was
up
the
on the
president. So he probably had like a more sophisticated phone.
he was
You
really
know?
top technology at the time.
Yeah.
And then the guy on the other line, he's on the moon going, "Yeah, one giant step for mankind." And it's like, well, dude, how are you communicating with us right now? No, 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 no. See, I'm a bad person. I think that dude's in Simi Valley.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's
Stanley Kubrick is filming Simi
it's
Valley.
kind of a coincidence that Simi Valley looks a lot like the moon.
Kinda looks like they're gonna wave that rock. I think that was in Simi Valley.
Looks like it.
Like, oh my god, we should prove that one time. We could be bad people. So we could go and take,
How
like
fun.
what we'll do is we'll go and, we'll watch footage from the moon landing,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll go backpacking in Simi Valley and find the exact terrain that they filmed that on.
That's so perfect.
Because there's probably landmarks. It's like, "This shrub is still
They
here."
probably left the stuff. They're not very good at like cleaning up. You know what I mean?
You know what I was thinking?
What?
Epiphany.
Okay.
That's part of, like, revealing the method. What if they had to leave the set intact because
They do it
what
on
they
purpose.
do it on purpose. They want us to kind of I think they want us to do what we're doing. They
Mhm.
want us to go, "Wait a minute, this, and this." And they go, "Good, good, good,
And
but
then
you don't get to say that."
they laugh at us for, like, just having to muddle through their whole plan.
They go, "You're right, but what are you gonna do about it?"
Yeah.
You know? Well, because the culture club has become very powerful. It was like, well, if you wanna be an actress, you gotta come up to my room at 3 in the morning. Now it's like, well, if you wanna eat food, you know? I think that's where it's at. The culture
Right.
club, they are expanding their influence, and we've talked about how it's a top-down rollout,
Totally.
and they use triple M's to the P to manage their rollout at the ground level.
Mhm.
So what I'm starting to realize is it's becoming more and more evident that you need to drink the Kool-Aid or no reindeer games. You don't get to play in any of their reindeer
Right.
games.
You'll live in your, coffin apartment in your 15-minute city and drive your e-bike to Wingstop.
I think those are the people who actually go along. I think what you get to do is if you don't go along, you down by the river bottom with a fentanyl overdose.
Mhm.
You get a tent.
So you think they like what we're doing? They like that we're questioning it? Maybe they're like, "Ooh, we gotta
Yeah, I think you know
we."
what they get off on it. They go, look at how powerful we are. We can tell them what's going on. They know what's going on, but look at how powerless they are to
We
change
they
anything.
can't do anything about it.
They are just are they see, I think that gets them off when they see that
That's
they're so
interesting.
powerful that we can know what they're doing to us and not do anything about it.
Like helpless creatures. So what's the white pill? We spread the word.
The white pill is
More people need to know.
well, the white pill is look at Bill Gates and Larry Fink. Are you going to let those people defeat you?
No.
That's the white pill. Are you going to let Peter Thiel defeat you? I mean, have you seen that guy? He's such a douchebag. Like, remember he's like, and they're like, Peter Thiel, you're heavily invested in Palantir, and you guys have killed like little kids because basically your business plan is we surveil everybody, we give you a score, and then we decide whether to kill you or not. And they're going, Peter Thiel, is that your business plan? He goes, yeah, 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 that is. And they go, well, wait a second, you guys have killed little kids. And he goes, and then he goes, well, my bias is don't ask questions from that country from 1948. So these are the people who we're up against. The white pill is look at them.
Right.
Look at them. I think we need to have self-esteem enough to say, I'm not going to get defeated by these people.
Totally.
That's why a lot of our episodes, I'm usually the one that drives this. You are more of like an external conspiracy theorist. I kind of look at like the conspiracies affecting me inside. What I think is happening is we're being rendered to become insecure, to feel like we're inadequate, and to feel like we're no good. And then we get rendered into this stupor where we just, our dog is in a wheelchair and we just submit to this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we are not supposed to do because I'm not going to let Peter Thiel and Larry Fink beat me.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna.
I'm right there with you.
So
I'm not gonna let them defeat me either.
the white pill is it's daunting.
Yeah.
They've rolled out this rollout from the top down, and now they have the girl at Sephora. What does she say to you?
You only get 3 samples.
And then what do you have to do? You have to go home, come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and what did you had a lady at Sephora, because you had that lady, but then there was another Sephora lady who was like, excuse me, no, you bought this 31 days ago. We have a very, very sound policy. It's 30 days for a return. You're like, well, I was out of town and I didn't really. I don't want to hear it. No, the answer is no, but I'll do it this time. So I think what she really wanted to do was tell you you were screwed,
Yeah. They
and
love that.
they want that.
Yeah.
She is where the Culture Club control plan is being rolled out.
Mhm.
She is the ground level person. And
Yeah.
she's going, no, I really don't want you to have a good life. I want to tell you that you're screwed.
And it makes me feel good because it gives me my 5 minutes of power.
5 minutes of power. I'm a psychopath.
Yeah.
I love your pain.
So it all trickles down from the top. The psychopaths at the top that are creating, all the rules and regulations and laws and stuff,
Mhm.
they trickle down their power,
They're psychopathy.
their psychopathy, and the people underneath them get a little bit of that power, and they tell the other people, and then it goes down below them, and the next thing you know, you're at Sephora and you can only get 3 samples.
And that girl at Sephora, she's like, Satan comes and goes, well, will you sell your soul? I mean, and she's like, so work at Sephora? And he's like, well, that's where you'll start. You'll start at Sephora,
But
but
next thing you know, you might be in Harvey Weinstein's bedroom at
you'll have
3
upward
o'clock in the
mobility.
morning.
That's right. And, he doesn't have balls anymore, but you'll still be able to go down on him. And, all you got to do is just, you start at Sephora, but if you genuflect to the culture club, then you're going to be able to move up and who knows where you'll be able to go. You could be Tara Reid maybe
So,
one day.
inner sanctum is the limit.
You could be like Tara Reid. Tara Reid, she sold her soul, but then ended up just a B actress. But that happens to some people. You could be like Tiger Woods' wife, who was skiing and like came out and said bad things about Trump, and then she had to have like an injury and get a gold medal. But that's kind of how it works. You don't know once you sell your soul if you're going to be inner sanctum or not. But good, sell your soul. Because if you sell your soul, at least you have a chance.
Yeah, totally.
But if you don't sell your soul, I'm sorry, it's fentanyl overdose down by the river.
But I think what we always talk about is when you sell your soul and you go the Satan route, things never work out right.
Well,
They're not going to work out for you.
that's it. So right now,
People think they will, but they won't.
every single human being is a catch-22. Have you ever heard that term?
Yeah, I like it.
There's a book. Have you ever read the book?
Yeah.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
You're so smart. So what's a catch-22?
um, he was,
A catch-22 is like a no-win situation.
yeah,
You're in a rock and a hard place.
yeah.
I think every person on earth right now is kind of in a catch-22. You know what the catch-22 is? The catch-22 is this. I could sell my soul to Satan, but then I'm going to get repaid. Because if you get used by Satan, you're going to get repaid in kind. So, for instance, Tiger Woods' girlfriend or whatever at the time, she ended up breaking her arm and
Right.
getting kicked out of the Olympics. So she kind of got repaid. Or E. Jean Carroll, she came out,
Yeah.
now she got voted off the island. Or like Charlie Kirk, I think he's a cult member. I think he got voted off the island. So that's what's going to happen to you. So you immediately go, I don't want to sell my soul because I'm going to get punished for that. And it's not worth the short-term rewards for the long-term consequences.
But here's the problem. I think so many people don't see long term.
They get their
That's a
nipple pierced on the way to get tacos.
yeah, that's a major problem. Is that people don't look at the long term or what's going to be the consequences down the road. They just see the here and now and they want instant gratification.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right. And so then why is it a catch-22? The other alternative is to be us and to be um, standing for what you believe in,
Right.
uncompromised. But if you're going to be standing for what you believe in and uncompromised, you're going to be shunned and you're going to be not allowed to play in any of their reindeer games.
Yeah.
And they're becoming more and more steadfast about that. And their micromanagement is becoming more and more, your favorite word, ubiquitous. So they have ubiquitous micromanagement
They
going
do.
on.
They have them everywhere because so many people fall in line and just go along with it.
Like, for instance, even going into the library here, and you go and you're like walking around the library, it's like, why do they have Marina Abramovich
Books on the front
it's like
counter.
prominently displayed at the front counter?
Yeah.
And the culture club's like, yeah, well, we run this library.
There was probably some instruction coming down from the top somewhere that trickled down into like even like local libraries saying, this is the book that you will display on the front counter. These are the books that we want in prominent view when people walk in.
And the
Same
other
with
thing,
like Barnes and Noble and stuff.
the other thing I noticed about the library is it kind of is like the islands. Remember when you went out to the island?
Yeah.
And there's all these people working at the library, and I'm like, why do we need this many employees
at a public library?
I mean,
how many people does it take to put away a few books?
Like, I look at this library and I say, one person high on weed could handle this. Like, you don't need to have four people sometimes working.
Or six.
Six people work in the library. So, and that's kind of like out at the island, and you go out there, and it's like, no, we tagged these birds. These are invasive, and we're out here managing. See those weeds? We're going to be eradicating those invasive species. So you have All of these people on the dole, they're getting paid money
I know.
to go
To
out there and do
manage
this.
invasive birds, which, like, how do you really manage a bird? And how can any bird be invasive? They've got wings, they can fly wherever they want to go, right?
Well, remember she explained it to you. She was like, excuse me, butterfly, stop asking questions, first of all. Shut up. But if you need an answer, that bird is teaching the other birds to eat eggs that they're not supposed to eat. So, that sounds like an animal behavior.
And we don't want those birds from those eggs, but we don't want that bird teaching the other birds to eat those eggs.
Those eggs are bad, but that bird is not supposed
He
to
shouldn't
eat
be
them.
doing that.
No, it's kind of like if you go out to the island and you go, let me help eradicate those weeds. I'm gonna go rip no, sir, stop ripping out the weeds. I know those are invasive and we're gonna be eradicating those, but we eradicate them in our own way.
We have Roundup for that.
We ground up for that. So I'm thinking those two incidences, the library and the island, are showing you where the culture club has the stronghold on everything. The white pill is, I think that Satan's plans get thwarted.
They do.
So even if things seem like they're hopeless, because it's kind of daunting, our situation is daunting.
It's daunting. It can be daunting.
Like you and I try to keep a white pill, but at the same time, in order to be white pilled, I think you have to be realistic about how daunting the situation is. The situation's pretty daunting. A lot of people have acquiesced.
A lot of people have acquiesced.
So what's the white pill? The white pill, I think, is keep connecting the dots and keep talking.
I think so too. I think we need to, like we always say, we need to keep talking so more people know. And I think the more people that know and are aware of these things that are going on, the better, because there's more of us than them.
That's right. And
Right.
then the other thing I was thinking is another white pill is like you and I were talking about. Remember how we kind of talk about this concept of scales falling from your eyes?
Right.
I think if we can get more and more people to get red pill and have the scales fall from their eyes, more and more people are going to see through the lies. They're going to see the culture club for what it is. They're going to resist it, and that's the white pill.
Exactly. Is that a coincidence?
It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence that, the culture club is the culture club. That's a coincidence. Like I would think that maybe they want us not thinking there's a culture club.
I would think so too.
They don't want us knowing that there's a culture club.
Yeah.
Because if you know there's a culture club, you're going to start to see their fingerprints on stuff and you're going to start to like build a resistance to it.
Right.
Like I think what I'm trying to do and what I think you're trying to do, what we're trying to do with this podcast is kind of start a revolution.
Exactly. And that's no coincidence.
That's no cool. I love that. Should we stop talking?
Yeah.
Have we unpacked coincidences enough? That's 2 episodes.
I think we have. I mean, there's probably going to be more because more coincidences will happen, and I'm sure we'll have to discuss those. But I think that was good for today.
Well, just like the micromanagers out on the island, we kind of bring them up a lot.
Yeah,
And we also talk about people hanging themselves from doorknobs with scarves a lot. I think that coincidences will come into play in future episodes.
totally.
Good seeing you.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.